Oh. Hello, welcome to episode 63 of Ring Takes here. I'm joined by Brian and Lewis, where we'll be making our King of the Ring predictions. It's Pick'em time, guys. Pick'em time again has circled the way it's around. And we have a tournament format that's coming up with the King of the Ring, one of our favorite old pay-per-views from back in the day. You think about Austin in 96. You think about Triple H in 97. Ken Shamrock in 98. Mr. Ass in 99. And 2000 was that Kurt Angle or was that Edge?
2000, I believe it was Kurt Angle, and then Edge had
Kurt Angle. 2001.
Edge won King of the Ring.
Yeah, yes, he did.
Yep.
2001, Edge won King of the Ring.
Yeah. Way back in the day, and they had that angle with Christian acting like he helped him win when he was actually trying to screw him over. Good stuff from the Attitude Era. But King of the Ring tournaments back in full effect. We're getting great matches on week-to-week television, which we'll be talking about leading into our picks. Can't wait to get into the rundown. So let's get into it. King of the Ring predictions here. Let's look at the first match from the men's side here. I wanted to count this as 2 points, right? Because we have qualifying matches on SmackDown still to be determined. We have Gunther, who had an amazing match against Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw, to face either Randy Orton or Tama Tonga. That match will be determined on SmackDown. Who do you guys have advancing to the King of the Ring finals and winning the King of the Ring?
To predict the Randy Orton and Tama Tonga match, I definitely believe that they're going to go Randy Orton here. Not only because Randy Orton makes for the logical matchup against Gunther as far as heel and babyface go, but just to continue to kind of tell the story with Randy Orton against the Bloodline. If you guys remember, I think after Randy Orton's first round match. I think they did an interview, or he cut in a promo on the mic where he actually said he wanted to face Tama Tonga in the later on in the tournament. So they're definitely with telling this story with Randy Orton and the Bloodline. I mean, we haven't seen Kevin Owens on TV for a few weeks, but you definitely think that because I haven't heard anything about injuries or anything, so you definitely think that he eventually is going to reinsert himself at some point. So based upon that, so I think Randy Orton definitely ends up heading to the finals. In the actual King of the Ring final, as much as people may not like it, I do think that Gunther is going to end up becoming your King of the Ring, and they're going to go with the King General gimmick. They alluded to it on commentary. At least Pat McAfee has for the last 2 weeks. I'm not sure if Gunther had I know Gunther cut a promo before King of the Ring had started about how that was his next step after losing the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. But I don't know if he was actually calling himself the King General, if that's something they alluded to on commentary. But regardless, that's something that they've definitely been pushing. That whole he's gonna be the King General. So I think they're definitely gonna make a gimmick out of it. And when you speak about a King of the Ring, I was looking at a post on Facebook earlier. And they was looking, and I think Daniel, I think it was you something that you shared. I think it was like a whole bunch of photos of all of the recent King of the Rings from 2000 until now. Yep. Yeah, that photo. The fact that when I look at that photo, and the fact that the last time they took King of the Ring seriously was 2006 when Booker T won it and became King Booker. Because then I literally looked at all the other ones after, and then they literally had no impact. They literally was treated like jokes. And the King of the Ring really didn't mean much, and now we fast forward to now. You rectify all of that by putting it on Gunther and actually having him be like an actual serious king. No funny gimmicky stuff. No nonsense with him having a court or anything of that nature. Just have him be the same Gunther, but even on an even more serious level now with the king crown. So I'm going Gunther.
Yeah, for sure. Same thing. As much as it'd be great for Randy to add another accolade under his belt, but he doesn't need it. He's so over right now. Randy's a legend right now. So I'm one that with obviously guys from our eras like the Randy Ortons, the AJs, all these guys are getting. I would still like to see them each kind of get their one more title run, but Gunther's been so dominant, and this would just solidify him as another just like top heel, top star. And it just makes sense because even if Randy were to lose, which I highly doubt, him versus Tama Tonga is just like Tama's not really like too well known yet to be kind of thrown into that spot. So obviously Randy's gonna win, and also it's it's a Saudi Arabia a PLE. Obviously you want the big stars to have the big match over there. So of course you're gonna have the biggest star Randy Orton. All these everybody over there knows who he is, and then obviously if people watching the product know how dominant Gunther is right now, so it just makes sense for them to clash. But as far as the winner goes, yeah, for sure, Gunther it's going to solidify him. It'll finally put him into that main event picture. I was just thinking right now as Brian was talking, I was just like, it's kind of funny how this tournament has kind of just like brought out more, like at least giving more star power to people and stuff, but I feel like it's also the only maybe negative is kind of, I want to say like taking the spotlight off of like at least like champions like Damian. I feel like he's just been dealing with like Judgment Day stuff, but we're not really seeing him coming out as the champ and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe in the beginning weeks, but like this is really taking over, the last couple of weeks leading up to this PLE. And so like, I don't think he even has a match for this PLE. So it's kind of like, is this becoming like, shown that this is the secondary title? Obviously Cody's, has his match and obviously still being presented as a big star, but it's like, is this taken away from Damian and his title reign? And, if we get Gunther as King of the Ring, it's just like what's stopping him from getting the title on him as soon as possible and making him a dominant champion, So,
so you're going Randy and Gunther, and I'm thinking along the lines. Of course, you don't want a heel versus heel in this matchup in the finals. Of course, at the in Saudi Arabia, you kind of want a heel face dynamic, which I think makes sense because that's kind of how the card is lined up. When you look at the card. Overall, I'm just thinking this is a way that both Gunther and Randy can advance their stories, right? Because we all think Randy Orton is going to be in a position to challenge Cody Rhodes at some point for the title, right? Like that's a storyline that's probably better to happen earlier than later, right? At some point, right? You got Gunther on the flip side, who has been probably the biggest workhorse on Raw outside of Dominic Mysterio. Outside of Dominic Mysterio, right? So, but like Gunther's reign in the King General kind of fits, right? The code, the way he's been kicking ass. That match with Jey Uso was awesome. I think it went nearly 20 minutes as we talked before the air. Like it went up right until the end. Very hellacious match, very great match between those two, and they work well together with the face and heel dynamic in that matchup. So I have Randy winning against Tama Tonga because Tama Tonga, even though he's been good so far, I don't think we're going to put him into a main event spot, a hot match like that at Saudi Arabia, especially with the bloodline going up against Gunther. I just don't see how that mix. A match like Gunther and Randy is way more intriguing. A match that we haven't really seen, right? I don't believe we've seen this matchup on the main roster at all. So to get this at a PLE Saudi Arabia where they're actually going to give it time, I'm just thinking, how is Randy going to take the power bomb with his back and neck and stuff like that? That history. So I'm kind of worried about that a little bit. Yeah, so I'm kind of worried about that a little bit to see how that is. But if there's anybody that's a veteran in the game that can get Gunther over, who's an ascending star, I think Randy's in that position to do that and at King of the Ring, and I think Gunther's going to win. I think it's going to just add to his resume, right? Like he's been doing all this stuff, just adding to his resume in long reigns. One thing that hasn't been taken seriously for a long time has been the King and Queen of the Ring, I guess you can say. Now is that we've had Xavier Woods. I remember Baron Corbin, they were trying to get that over for the longest time. That didn't work. Bad News Barrett, I believe, won King of the Ring. When we thought Shorty G at that time, Chad Gable, should have won at that time, and that would have been a spot for him to extend years ago when you think about that. So, the King of the Ring, when you look at it, even in the 90s, it was prestigious. Early 2000s, it was prestigious. It always meant that, hey, this was a guy that was on a mid-level card going to the next stage of their careers. When you look at guys like The Rock, Triple H, et cetera, Ken Shamrock, guys that were going to be elevated into the main event scene. And even though Gunther has been putting on bangers and bangers and bangers, that's going to solidify him in that upper echelon. So I'm going to go Gunther as well as the new King of the Ring, and just be taken seriously again, because his gimmick isn't a joke. Like, there's going to be no comedy with this King of the Ring gimmick, in my opinion. Even if Randy won in some retrospect, it's like, that's
the
not
Viper King.
Like, the Viper King. Great marketing.
Yeah, no, when you stop and you think about it, with Gunther, they have told like his story like almost like damn near perfect since he's debuted on the main roster. Even though he debuted during the whole when Vince was still there, I mean, he still was U.S. Intercontinental Champion. And to have the whole reign,
we were worried about the name change. We were worried about the name change.
Yeah,
because we thought
first, we were. Yeah, a lot of people.
We thought that was going to be a death sentence, because forever we know this guy as Walter. When he in any Indies, any NXT UK, NXT, he was known as Walter with Imperium. When we saw that name change, we were worried. We were worried with the booking and what was going to happen. And somehow we
were worried, but we understood why they did it, though.
Walter was it, but it doesn't mean was already just such a solidified name.
But it does make sense why they would do it, and it's actually better for him, because then if he does leave the company at some point, he can go back to his old name, and then everybody's good.
Yeah, I mean, in that retrospect, but I mean, we were worried about the booking. We were like, they're going to make this guy a joke. They're going to make him this typical foreign hatred of America. Yeah, but we didn't get really any of that. We got a little bit of it here and there, maybe some tweens when he was facing certain people and stuff and that, and promos and stuff like that. But it was mainly just the ring general. Like, you're a joke. You can't beat me. You're not as talented as me. You're not as technical as me. And for nearly 2 years, that's gotten over. It's just been in-ring work, putting on banger after banger, beating everybody, literally everybody. And go ahead, Lewis.
And what's really good about him is that the thing is like they presented him as such a strong heel, because one, he'll either beat people clean on his own, or two, has had Imperium come in and give him the assist, but he'll still it's like, it's a little help here and there, but it's like he still dominates the match. And it's like,
so what you're saying is not Roman Reigns.
I mean, if you think about it, it's not like how most heels have been presented in WWE.
It's not Hulk Hogan NWO.
It's not like, or like Evolution and Triple H and where it's just like, you always had some type of interference. Oh, the numbers game, but it's like this. He has the numbers, but other times he's like, "Hey, I don't even need it. I'm gonna go take care of it." And I like how literally this man has made a Boston Crab or a single leg so damn lethal and tapping people out. It's like
he beat Jey Uso. He beat Jey Uso with a sleeper.
You look at his whole move set is just basic moves.
Yeah,
if you look at it, a chop, just a regular chop, but it's him doing it, so it's hard as shit. A regular power bomber when he does it, and
you know what's crazy? I felt like he was more intimidating when he was heavier, just because it was like kind of like a not as big as like a Bronson Reed, but still like stocky. And now that he's like slimmed down and is like cut. But it's like he's still tall, but he's still like chopping dudes down. And I feel, if anything, he's probably faster. So it's like
he's more lethal. Yeah. He's way more lethal.
Yeah.
And even the thing that I like about him as well is that he's willing to give in the ring, right? Like he's been hurt in the ring. Like there's been times when we thought, hey, it looks like he's about to lose. And then he just pulls it out of his ass. he clotheslines the guy and hits a power bomb and wins. And it's like, oh shit. But like his ring work, the ring general has been awesome for the past couple years, even before this. But it's just like now that we're seeing him on the main roster, we're seeing him develop even more. I didn't know he had promo skills like this. Like when he was talking shit about Sammy and Chad and stuff like that. Like that's shown growth. Like I didn't know he was that capable of a talker like that. We've seen a little bit of it in NXT, but he's putting down guys. He's getting over in his promos. It's like, oh shit! Like he is the total package of a wrestler right now. And I think I said it in the chat. Like I'm like he's the best in the world. Like I don't like. There's other guys like you can see like AEW Swerve Strickland. Kenny Omega, like guys in AEW who have that ring work. If they went up against Gunther, I don't see a bad match. I don't see them hanging with him. Like, he can go. We've seen the hour Broadways that he's put on before. It's like there's nothing that he can't do in the ring as those guys. So it's like, to me, with his size, his strength, his power, his agility, his ring work, it's like I think he's the best in the world. I think he's the best.
No, Daniel, I'm with you, but don't piss off the Will Ospreay fan base. That's all I'm saying.
He will powerbomb Will Ospreay into the mat.
No, I'm not talking about me specifically. I'm just not that fan base. Because they heard you say Gunther, they'll start saying all types of stuff about that.
That's fine. They can. They can.
Gunther
I don't know.
Ospreay.
Where's Gunther from? Austria? Is it Austria or
Austria?
Yeah, Austria.
Austria. I don't know if there's an Austria versus a UK battle going on.
Nah.
My money's on Gunther in that matchup.
And this is my thing is like with him, I think with this, or even just this match against Randy, which I'm hoping is Randy, because we never know. I feel like it's definitely just gonna catapult to us finally seeing him face top guys like him versus Seth, him maybe down the line, maybe versus a Roman or versus an AJ or versus I'm trying to think top. Him and Drew have already gone. I mean, I'm just thinking like top stars, like people like we just have been waiting for him. Since he held that IC title so long, he was only going up against like the Sammys, the Chads, and these other people. But I mean, great matches. But now it's like we're finally going to get to see. I would love to see him Roman, him Kevin Owens, him Randy. Like it's just like all these slew of matches that we can get now. Him Damian. It's just like yeah, him and Damian is great.
So like. It just speaks to how great he is, and we unanimously believe that he's going to be King of the Ring, and go on to face either Damian. Well, he's going to face Damian Priest. He's on the Raw brand, so that match is going to happen at some point. And you're just wondering because Clash at the Castle in Scotland is coming up, so it's going to be interesting to see when that match takes place. Can't wait to see. But we got Gunther winning King of the Ring on the men's side. Let's move on.